she criticized the president of the plane from Qatar. Donald Trump has complained about all three of the people that he appointed to the Supreme Court. The president may disagree with the court and some of its rulings, but he will always respect its foundational role.
Let's hop into a CNN segment discussing some of the behind-the-scenes turmoil. There's been plenty of in-the-scenes turmoil, but the behind-the-scenes turmoil of the Trump administration, with him voicing disdain of the Supreme Court and meeting with white supremacists. So if you can't, leave us a like on the video. It lets us know you really enjoy the content, and let's see what we can unpack.
We have heard from multiple sources that Donald Trump has complained about all three of the people that he appointed to the Supreme Court bench, but much of that ire has been focused on Amy Coney Barrett, his most recent hire. And it's not just one ruling, a series of rulings. And a lot of this has been fueled by Trump's allies on the far right, who have argued to him that she is quote unquote weak, that she is not presenting herself in these rulings the way that she presented herself in interviews to get the job back in 2020. And some of these allies have even speculated that part of the reason that she is ruling the way that she is because of menacing threats against her and her family. Just in March, her sister was targeted with a bomb threat, and that has caused President Trump to speculate if things would be easier for Amy Coney Barrett, if she had more security.
It really just shows how transactional that Trump is, where solely because he appointed three justices himself, he expects them to be in his pocket and always rule in his favor. And despite them doing so, like 85% of the time, even when it's completely egregious, that 15% of the time that they absolutely can't for reputation reasons, that's still too much for him. And with Amy Coney Barrett being the most likely of the three to put Constitution over any partisan loyalty or ideological bias, of course, she then has drawn the biggest ire from the president, of whom had appointed her, by the way, and confirmed in less time before an election than Republicans literally had prevented Obama for appointing Merrick Garland on claims it was too close to an election. I will say, though, Amy Coney Barrett is probably the best of the three that Trump appointed. So I don't really care to get into that debate. If we are going to have conservative judges, ones like her would be tolerable.
They said President Trump will always stand with the Supreme Court, unlike the Democratic Party, which, if given the opportunity, would pack the court, ultimately undermining its integrity. The president may disagree with the court and some of its rulings, but he will always respect its foundational role. So clearly they're saying he might not be happy, but he is going to abide by and respect the court. Big question there that we've all been wondering, since so many of his agenda items are going to the Supreme Court.
You just took the words out of my mouth. I mean, one of the reasons with this matters so much right now at this moment with this president is the very deliberate strategy to try to push the line, cross the line, and hope that the Supreme Court, which includes justices he appointed, stand by him.
You have to love the brazen lack of self-awareness from MAGA to publicly pretend that Democrats won't respect the law or highest court in this country when Joe Biden literally did in his term without hesitation, where he, as a campaign promise, was going to do blanket student loan forgiveness. He was going to do so through the HEROES Act. The Supreme Court ruled that using the HEROES Act to do blanket student loan forgiveness was unconstitutional. He immediately ditched the plan. This was to the ire of many progressives, me as well at the time, and instead found legal routes to do conditional student loan debt forgiveness through the SAVE plan, which was existing means instead. Meanwhile, Trump was ordered 9-0 by the Supreme Court to return Abrego Garcia, has not only refusing and taken absolutely zero steps to do so, but he's publicly commented that he won't. And, well, I interpret the Supreme Court ruling differently. It's quite literally doing the thing their spokesperson here said you would never do, but Democrats would.
She has been on somewhat of a tangent online, criticizing multiple agencies within the government, saying that they did not pick people who were loyal to the president. But one interesting fact on all of this is, since then, Laura Loomer has found herself kind of on the outs with some of Donald Trump's closest allies because of the fact that she criticized the president of the plane from Qatar to the government, to the Trump administration, saying that they shouldn't be accepting that as a gift. It actually caused her to publicly apologize, but we're still waiting to see more information on what exactly she was discussing when she sat down with Vance.
And Laura Loomer, for those who don't know, is a literal neo-Nazi. She's a self-avowed, calls herself a white supremacist. She has spoken at KKK rallies, neo-Nazi events, and more. She is publicly Islamophobic, regularly tweets racist things, said the White House would smell like curry if Kamala Harris won, and she also thinks 9/11 was an inside job. The fact this person is even granted presidential access continually is insane. Access to the point that Trump has actually followed her advice before in firing 3 NSA workers after she met with him and then publicly pushed for them to be fired. This is a literal bigot, a self-claimed racist who the president is openly allowing in to have meetings with him and other high-ranking officials, his vice president, and to give advice to him. There is no justification for something like this being allowed. It should be entirely morally disqualifying, would have been politically career-ending in 10 years ago, and I wish it was the first time that Trump let a neo-Nazi in the White House, but we all know in his first term, he let 2 in Nick Fuentes and Kanye West to have dinner with him. So while he'll pretend Democrats are the anti-Semites, it seems he's the one doing the anti-Semitic actions. It's the lack of self-awareness for me.